of the Inclusive Human-centric Summit and Award 7.0, I would like to invite on stage now for a keynote address, Angeni Jayawickramarajah, Global Subsurface Unit Leader, BP, and she shall be addressing the audience now. Angeni, may I welcome you onto the stage? And we've all had some chai, so I'm sure we can welcome her with some bit of applause.
Thank you. I know it is getting towards the end of the day, but I do appreciate this opportunity, and I do want to thank Dr. Neeru and Ask Insights for giving BP and giving me this opportunity to do a keynote speech. Varsha Singh, who is our Vice President for our Finance Business Technology Organization, was intended to be here, but she was unable to come. So again, I do appreciate the opportunity to step in to represent BP and this important subject. So my name is Angeni Jayawickramarajah. I am the Subsurface Manager for BP Technical Solutions India. It is one of our newest businesses that has stood up in Pune alongside our technology organization and our Finance Business Technology Center as well. I have been with BP for 19 years, which is quite incredible. And I think earlier this morning, people spoke about, I think someone was with 25 years, and it just goes in a heartbeat. I also serve as the BP WIN Chair for India, and BP WIN is one of our business resource groups, and it stands for Women's International Network. Again, I'll talk a little bit about what that is and what it means for BP. But what I would say is that, again, I am with 19 years with BP, but I was born and raised in Houston, Texas. I'm a petroleum engineer. My daughter often calls me Angeni the engineer. And I have had the incredible opportunities to work in various businesses with BP. Started my career onshore US for 7 years. I worked in Azerbaijan business, in the Caspian. I've worked in Oman, and now here in India. So in this keynote speech, I actually wanted to talk to you about, I know it's the end of the day, but about physics and how it is intricately tied to social progress and this topic of human centricity. But before I talk about that, maybe just recap on some key definitions. So motion, which is the ability to move or continuous movement in an object. Now, just because you are physically moving doesn't necessarily mean that you are actually progressing. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute here. And then there's inertia, which is the inability to move or change. In social context, inertia is what actually keeps people from progressing. It defers social progress. It can create inequality. It can create deterrent in innovation and social injustice. So I'll talk a little bit about motion and an example of motion with progress from my own personal story. So, and I would just first say that don't get confused by my accent, where I was born, and my surname. So if I take you back to 1890s, that's the first motion of reference for me, which was my maternal great-grandfather. He was a civil engineer, and he was part of the first cohort of what is present-day IIT Roorkee. He had a strong conviction and a belief of the unequivocal importance of education, knowledge, curiosity, and progress. He had a son, my maternal grandfather, who also was a civil engineer at IIT Roorkee, who also had a strong conviction of the unequivocal importance of education, knowledge, curiosity, and progress. And he had a daughter, who is my mother, who is also from IIT Roorkee, who believed on the unequivocal importance of education, knowledge, curiosity, and progress. She later married my father, who is also an engineer, and she moved to the US. And she had twin daughters, me and my sister, who are petroleum engineers, who have strong conviction of the unequivocal importance of curiosity, progress, education, and knowledge. 4 generations of engineers all started from one man in the 1890s who wanted to drive motion for progress. Today in India, we produce and have graduates of 1 million engineers every year. 1 million engineers every year is unprecedented. But is that enough? Is that enough, and is that all it's going to take to India to the next leaps and bounds of technological advancements, of curiosity and innovation? And India has actually made so much progress and is on a trajectory of even more technological advancements. But there's another side of India. There's a parallel world of India where we are moving, but we are not progressing. There is inertia, the inability to move or change. I saw a recent study that showed that today, only 26% of women are actually in a formal workplace job. Only 8% of CEOs and 20% of board of directors are filled by women. And 40% of women in this country drop out of school between the age of 15 to 18. How will we maximize the potential of India until we start addressing the social challenges that exist today? What is actually causing inertia in the workplace? And some of these things are actually the quiet experiences that just remain behind closed doors. The inability to stand up and speak and respect yourself. And what are corporations doing to make sure that we have effective policies that actually are meant for retaining employees? So how do we actually combat inertia? Back to scientific definitions. The way that you actually combat inertia is that you have an unbalanced force of acts to change the object and the state of motion. An unbalanced force. And I'll talk a little bit about examples of where BP is actually doing an unbalanced force of actions to change the state of motion. But before I go there, let me back up and talk a little bit about BP. I've been with BP for 19 years. I've seen how it has transformed. I think somebody talked about culture is ever-changing, values stay consistent. So having been able to work in 4 different countries, I am so impressed with what BP has done and is doing in India today. We have a 100-year partnership with India since we've joined into India, and it's incredible about the number of individuals that have made that difference in the past century. We've invested $12 billion. It's the largest investment of a foreign company into a country. We have had partnerships with Reliance to explore and find oil and gas. We have done amazing things with GeoBP and set up 1,900 retail sites, over 4,200 charging points. And the recent news you would have seen earlier this year is our partnership with ONGC, and I've had the privilege to be a part of that deal where we are trying to help bring more oil and gas out of the reservoirs that we have here in India, and that is all in service of making a more independent and secure country here in India today. So I'm very proud of what BP has done. And I would just say that I think when you think about, and you'll see again I've got a couple of slides I'll just show if I can. I might need some help to get this. I'm not going to go through all of the content on the slides, but just to give a bit of a prompt, if I can get someone to help me with the slides, please. Okay, so I would say that again, I'm not going to go through all the details here, but I think when corporations actually set a target, it holds leaders accountable. And I think what BP has tried to do is actually do that very thing. So currently, we have about 30% of our staff are female, but we have an aspiration to be 40% by 2030. And again, we've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. And our processes and our people are at the heart of everything that we've been doing, and we have employee-led collectives. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I'm pushing the wrong button, that's why, okay. And then we've got individual-specific initiatives. So again, I'm not going to go through all this, but I think, as I talked about, I'm chairing BP WIN, which is one of our resource groups in India. These are the types of things that make a difference. If I talk specifically about my experience when I was in Azerbaijan, we had women that were pumping milk over toilets because there was not a mother's room. And it was the BP WIN group. These are employees for employees trying to listen to the quiet voices and the quiet experience that happen that might actually influence them to leave a company. That group went and actually had a mother's room built in the office in Azerbaijan. And to this day, I have women calling me saying that I actually didn't quit because I have this mother's room. And it's those small acts of speaking up and trying to make a difference. And that's what these BRGs do. We have to create platforms of listening. And I know Benilla talked about it earlier in the panel about our listening lounges, where leaders stop, they listen. And the most important thing is that you can hear the conversation, but you have to ask yourself, am I actually listening? And am I doing something about it? And so we try to create these opportunities to do that in BP. Our policies. Now I talked about, are our policies up to date? Are we actually listening? Are we actually changing? And I've seen a transformation. When I joined BP and I had my daughter in 2013, when I was in the US, my maternity leave was 4 weeks. And if I had a C-section, I got 6 weeks. 10 years later, when I had my son, I had 4 months. Now, is that perfect? Is it great? No, but it's progress. And I think that's the point. You don't have to actually change everything overnight. It's, are we moving in the right direction? And I would also say again, as I said before, I've worked in multiple countries. My personal stories, I've had 3 miscarriages, and it was a very huge, so that's why my children are 10 years apart. And BP actually helped me with IVF for my son. I would not have a son today if I didn't do the IVF, and they were actually in Houston supporting me financially and with leave to do that. And I think these are the things that actually make a difference for women when they decide whether they want to continue with a company or not. And it also affects your mental well-being. So again, taking things into account of what we are, what have been the challenges. It's not that we suddenly had these challenges, they've been there for decades, but it was somebody listening and doing something about it. And I think this one is a big one, which is the human centrism. It's a KPI. So we are not doing it on top of performing well and making profit. We are doing it as a KPI on performance. How are we actually showing up for our people? What are we doing in terms of action, and how are we actually building the next leaders of this industry and for this country? So a big KPI. But I would probably just leave you with one kind of final note, which is, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this now? And I think it goes back to what the theme we heard all day about, which was about Viksit Bharat and that developed India. And we have no time to be waiting on trying to get to that point. It's more than economic growth, it's about social empowering, and it's about technological advancement. But it's not just the governments and the corporations like BP that are going to do that. And what is a corporation? It's made of people. Governments are made of people. It's going to be on each of us to have that courageous voice, to be disruptive, and to be able to go and start fighting for what we think we need to do to achieve that goal in 2047. And you'll see again just a handful of incredible leaders that have transformed this country. But you don't have to be a famous leader, and you don't have to be in a high post to make a difference. You just have to be an individual that has strong convictions about the unequivocal importance of education, knowledge, curiosity, and progress. Just as my great-grandfather had 125 years ago, that led me here to you. Thank you.
All right, Dr. Akshay, to please present a token of felicitation to Angeni. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. Very inspiring, very enlightening. And Akshay, why don't you stay back? Oh, yes. And as soon as this picture gets over, we are entering a masterclass, Dr. Akshay. It is your time on stage. This masterclass is on diversity of thoughts, leveraging unique human experiences. And I've been asked to call Dr. Akshay and Shaker Nyak on stage. Right? Shaker, are you here with us? Okay, he will come a little later. Akshay, over to you. Let's do this your way.
As you already know me, and this presentation is on diversity of thought, because what happens is a lot of organizations get into a lot of DEI programs, and a lot of business cases promised to them, right? We show McKinsey data, and we show Catalyst data, and we show data from various universities that if you get in these number of women, your ROI will go 23% higher, and your turnover will go 40% lower, and XYZ. And then after a while, they say, "Arey, kuch hua hi nahi." I mean, you gave us huge hopes, and nothing happened. And that the reason behind it is that we get into certain interesting things and we learn certain interesting things, but eventually we do not know how to leverage the diversity of thought. So we get in a lot of women, we get in people from the LGBTQ community, we get in people from the PWD community, we get in people from various races, sectors, backgrounds, marginalized communities, or just different personalities, because diversity is everywhere. It's not just about things that we can see, but beyond that as well. And eventually we do not find that ROI that was promised to us by data. So this session is all about getting that promised ROI and how to leverage the diversity of thought. So that's the next level of doing DEI trainings, right? So the person who would be co-presenting this with me is a surprise to all of you. So just to get that thing started, we'll get into an activity, and this activity would require certain mysticism around it, because we would be turning off the lights and things like that. So for that, I would want to ask you, how many of you play cricket or have played cricket? So I see Yuvraj's hand. How many of you have played competitive cricket? You think that you play well. So Yuvraj, would you want to volunteer? So we'd want at least 2-3 volunteers. More hands up. I saw more hands up. So your hand was up, please. So Yuvraj, one more person, please come on stage. One more person who would want to volunteer for the activity. 3, right? One more. Okay, up, aajo. Please come on the stage. And I would also want the props. I would want the props. कि सुबह से बहुत सुन लिया ना, we've heard a lot of things since morning. Let's do certain things now. So what we'll do is, and Yuvraj is thinking, I am from a leadership role now.
I thought you will ask more questions, but you called us on stage.
Props, the bat, the ball. De do, please. So what I'll do is, I'll turn off the lights, I'll give you a bat. And then there is a blind cricket. Probably you would have heard of it. Right? Blind cricket, there's a very different kind of a ball that has some sound in it. Right? So we'll blindfold you, and we want you to experience how it feels like playing cricket to a person who's blind. And let's see if you can hit the ball. Right? We have the same ball. Can we do that? Yes. So we want, please ye de dijiye. Yeah. पहले उनको ये पहनने देते हैं. Can we have the lights off, please? Turned off. Can we have the lights turned off? All the lights turned off. Lights of the entire room turned off. Lights of the entire room turned off. पूरे रूम की लाइट बंद करनी है. पूरे रूम की लाइट बिल्कुल अंधेरा करना है. Practice allowed नहीं है. No practice. Just direct into the game. Let's do it. You missed the ball. Let's do it one more try. Missed the ball. One more. See, now the kid in him is coming out. They're planning. Teamwork. Ah, just a slight miss. Just a slight miss. A round of applause for him. A round of applause. A round of applause, please. Next person in. Yuvraj, if you want, you can go back to your seat. Or if you want to see, you can. Okay, let's do it. Ooh. Okay. Oh. Last try. Oh, next. Round of applause, please. Is it? You have a feeling? Oops. Can I get the ball, please? Okay, ready, steady, go. Now I'm bowling to you. Oh! Last try. Okay, thank you all for trying. Looks easy, right? But when you come to do it, now, thank you. Where's light still off, please? Let's say one more time. Last time. Round of applause. Not even a single miss. So let me introduce you. Lights on, please. Let me introduce you to the captain of the National Indian Blind Cricket Team, Shaker Nyak. And that's what diversity of thought is all about. Everybody gets in their different strengths. And then how can we leverage those different strengths for the success of the organization, and most importantly, self-fulfillment, right? So let's start the presentation, okay, so there's the Shaker's video. Let's play that video, please. Shaker, आपको बैठना है? आ जाओ.
Is happy for Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma when India won the World Cup, but no one knows about this man who has made India win 2 World Cups. Shaker Nyak was only 12 years old when both his mother and father expired, and he was also born completely blind. Only one good thing happened to him. He had an operation at the age of 8 and the vision of his right eye improved a little. Shaker Nyak started playing cricket from his school itself, and it was only his mother who encouraged him to play cricket. In the year 2000, the Cricket Association for the Blind in India noticed him when he scored 136 runs in 46 balls in a match. After this, he was also selected in India's blind cricket team. In 2010, he also became the captain of the Indian team, and under him India won the 2012 T20 World Cup and the 2014 ODI World Cup. Then in 2017, he became the first blind cricketer.
And about his views of life.
Yeah, hi everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Wow, super energy after the tea break, right? So usually after lunch, some session will get bored, but you are all so energetic from the morning I was observing. So thank you, Dr. Neeru ma'am, for this wonderful opportunity. And I traveled all the way from Bangalore today morning. And yes, of course, organizations have a very bigger role in, especially in disability, who are all having disability. So for them, organizations are having a very big role in their life journey. So as the same thing in my life also, when I was totally blind, through an organization, I got eye operation, and whatever the schooling days I had, it's in a blind school. And afterwards, when I thought that I wanted to do something for my mother country, India, so then a cricket association has come forward to support me. And here I can say that when I started my cricket career in 1997, so that time very less people are knowing about a blind cricket. So through the organization, they have done some programs to, people know more about blind cricket. And in that 2002, there was a one-day World Cup. I have selected for that. And of course, that time, very less support we are getting, of course, from the BCCI or the government. We are not getting any support. And we just started, to play for our fun. So I always get motivated from my mother. So she is my very big motivator, my inspiration, I can say. So she used to tell me that you should not think that you are a blind person, you are not able to do anything. You have to quit thinking disability, and you have to fly like a normal bird. You should not think that your blindness or any disability is your big problem. So then afterwards I started my cricket career. So there are some organizations has started supporting me. And 2014 I can say that when I become a captain of Indian blind cricket team, so we are having a cricket coaching camp in Odisha. So there even another 1 week to go, there was a World Cup happening in South Africa. So just 1 week to go, still Indian team tickets has been not yet booked. And I can very honoredly say that Anant Kumar sir, who was there in fertilizer and chemical department, so he came and supported for our association, and we went to South Africa. So there we won against Pakistan in the 4th one-day World Cup finals. So it was a very big achievement for India. And within a few minutes, our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji tweeted for our visually impaired cricket team, and he congratulated. So after that, whatever, from the beginning, I was there in the organizations from 1995. So there are a lot of learnings, and whatever the good culture we learn in our life, so that will motivate other people also, of course. And in the beginning, as I said, especially in a disability person, so he will get his success through the organizations, I can say. So without expectation, without getting anything, without support, I played for India, and the Government of India has recognized me for the Padma Shri Award. So that was a wonderful support by the Government of India. And from the beginning, what I said, I was there in the organization. So after looking all these things, I started my own cricket academy also in 2019. So now I'm supporting young hidden talents. I'm searching and supporting them for the, make their future good. And there are so many people are, still not reaching to the right place, right platform. So through my cricket academy, I wanted to give them the good training. And finally, what I'm saying is, whatever the achievements, whatever the honors has come to me because of some of the organizations only. So I always think that disability is not my weakness. I have converted my disability as my strength. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shaker. आप थोड़ी देर यहाँ पे बैठ जाओ. If you can just sit on this, and I'll just take five more minutes to just explain what diversity of thought is all about, and then we can close the day for today. So this is a research by Professor Scott Page, and what Professor Scott Page says is, and he did an experiment, and the experiment was in two groups. There was this group of top performers. All of them were top performers in their fields, the best that you could get. But all of them were identical, because how do you select top performers? By a certain checklist. So if you tick a certain criteria on the checklist, you become a top performer. So inevitably, all of them were absolutely the same. And then there was another team who were not top performers individually. The only thing was that this team, everybody in this team, everybody was different from each other, even though they were average performers on a certain criteria, right? So what is average? Again, a certain criteria. And then both of them were given similar tasks, one after another. And it was seen that the diverse group outperformed the top performers almost on every task given to them. And why is that so? So then Professor Scott Page went on to say that this is because all of us have something which is called as a mental toolbox. And what is a mental toolbox? Mental toolbox is comprised of three things. The knowledge set that you have, and this knowledge set, you gather this knowledge from various sources, from the books that you read, from the school that you went to, from perhaps the newspaper you read in the morning today, right? And my knowledge set would be very, very different from your knowledge set, because my sources of knowledge would be different from yours. And then secondly, perspectives. How do I look at situations? Right? And I would be looking at a situation very differently than how you do, because how is that shaped? That is shaped by the values that I have. That is shaped by my upbringing. That is shaped by how I saw my parents looking at certain situations and their viewpoints, and my society's viewpoints, and even my neighbors' viewpoints. And that would be very, very different from what you have, right? And eventually, third, heuristics. Those are the problem-solving skills. And because my knowledge set is different, my perspectives are different, and perhaps my skills are different too, because I went to a different technical school, or perhaps because I have different strengths, like my strengths may be very, very different to Shaker's strengths. Some are natural, and some may be acquired during my education, my lifestyle, etc. And now, because all of us have a different knowledge set, different perspectives, and different heuristics, when we combine our knowledge sets, perspectives, and heuristics, we are able to build on to each other's ability to solve a particular problem. But if we have 10 people on a team, all having the same kind of knowledge set, same kind of perspectives, and same kind of problem-solving skills, we may have 10 different individuals, but at the end of the day, it's just one type of knowledge, one type of perspective, and one type of problem-solving skills, which are not building on to each other to solve that particular problem. And that's the reason why hiring different people from different communities, different races, different mindsets, different personalities, different abilities, actually, even if they're average, right? And that's a deeper conversation on why equity. A lot of people resist equity, so that's a different conversation on why equity. And that's the reason, because when you hire people, even if they're not 10 on 10, even if they are 9 on 10 or 8 on 10, versus somebody who was probably a 10 on 10, but very, very similar to somebody you already have, better to hire an 8 on 10, because then you have a diverse team, which eventually will build on to each other to solve a problem much better than those top performers that you were planning to hire. And then, of course, there's this business case. And this business case says that if in your team, or if in your bigger organization, because an organization is also a team eventually, if you have 3 different kinds of natural diversities and 3 different kinds of acquired diversities, then you get 19% higher innovation revenue compared to others, and 9% higher EBIT, right? Which is profits. Now, if somebody tells you to hire these 3 different types of diversities just to get this, why wouldn't you do so? So there's a clear-cut business case, right? And that's the entire conversation behind why diversity of thought, why equity, and why eventually all this will lead to better success of an individual, of a team, and eventually of an organization. Thank you so much for being here today. And if you have any questions on this, I'm here on the stage. Otherwise, you can enjoy a cup of coffee, and we'll meet each other tomorrow again.
Hello, thank you so much for being with us. Throughout the day, you all have been wonderful. I have to do this before you go. We would like to thank our platinum partners, Mahindra, our gold sponsors, Flipkart, BP, Capgemini, and our silver sponsors, UNAC, PwC, Cairn, Perfetti, PepsiCo, Revolutionary, Ishatvam, Axis, Max Life Insurance, IBM, Linen and Lilly, Arvind, WTC, Aditya Birla Hindalco, Keshasuri Foundation, Nivea, and Swiggy. Thank you so much for being a part of day 1 of Inclusive Human-centric Summit. I have been told that tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. we will do something thoroughly and thrillingly exciting, right?
Before that, the memento for
Akshay? Oh, okay. May I request on stage the memento for Shaker ji? शेखर जी, बहुत मजा आया आपकी कहानी सुन के. It was so inspiring to hear from you, to see you in action. And thank you for bringing all the glory to the country that you do. This day has truly opened at least my eyes to a few very beautiful things, beautiful moments, lots of stories. And I think we go back with a very, very full heart. See you tomorrow morning, and for a day, another day full of very inspiring conversations. See you. Bring more energy back tomorrow. Cannot wait to see what the day will unfold. Thank you. Signing off from the stage.